So I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, yes, Arun, I can see the screen.
Okay. So where did we stop yesterday?
See, we have completed with the org setup,
Okay.
everything, and then we
Okay.
thought of, as part of implementation. So,
Okay.
what they will start with migrating, and like, let's discuss,
Yeah.
like, how we have to perform the testing. Like,
Okay.
say, if they involve in migration of data, like how we have to uh,
Right.
do the
Right.
integration
Okay.
testing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah. So to that point, probably we are clear, I think. So what I will do is that, so I will just start with the transaction part of it. So firstly, we'll discuss about this. So we gave access to a particular ledger. If I'm correct, it is Supreme US ledger is what we have given access to that. So ideally, we should be okay. I think we gave it for the other user, BuddyPower, but I'm not sure what is the issue. Somehow I couldn't access that particular user. So let me check that. If not, I'm not sure if they have restriction to create new user. So probably I'll check. If not, we will use this user and try to do some uh, account view and the analysis based on the transaction that we will be creating. And also today we'll cover this part. So how do we import the journals in FBDA or ADFA? Both the options we will see.
Okay, Arun.
Okay. Let me try to reset this password. Okay. Okay, so we were looking at the dashboard options and the journals. What are the options that we will have for the period closure and all those things? Okay. So firstly, if we want to talk about the dashboard, if you see, so this dashboard is provisioned based on the access that we have. So in this case, we have access to Supremo Bank US primary ledger. So ideally, we will not have more than one data access set. Sorry. So unless I'm super user or probably the team who manages the in-house support. Okay. So, but for the end users or the actual user who does the transaction in the system will have access to one particular data set. So which we can see here. Okay. So related to this particular data set or the primary ledger, we are seeing these transactions. So if you see, so this will be one default. So these are the certain options. If we probably want to analyze the data, we can see that in real time. Okay. So probably we'll see that in detail. And also here, if you see, so we will have, so the reason I'm getting this option as well, because I gave two roles, if you remember. One is general accountant and the other one is general accounting manager. So this accounting manager will give us the access to see the period closure things, which means that which period is open, which period is closed, or if I want to open or close new period, which I can do. Okay.
Okay. And if you see for this one, we have a
Okay.
data access set as a Supreme Bank US primary ledger. Now, say
Correct.
if we log in as an accountant, what will be? Not at ledger level, no?
Yeah, even if I log in as an accountant, so instead of probably data access at A, I might be having data access at B. But this is nothing but the ledger name actually.
Okay. Mm-mm.
So
Not, it will
instead
not,
of
they'll not specify module name like that or not.
yeah, so this is just a naming convention. So what we give, so that is what will reflect here. Instead of A, probably we can populate B also. So that is based on the role and user matrix.
Okay.
Yeah. And this task list will give us certain options here if you see. So one is that probably we can look at the account analysis. So these are the two options. So one is to analyze in detail and the other one is to just look at the balances, something like this. So it will just give us the summary of the balance. Okay. And these are the options that we have for the period closure activities, so which we will talk about it after this section. Okay.
Yeah. Can you
And
click on the inquiry
yeah,
on detail balance, please?
yeah, detail balances, if you click, so it will take us to this page where we have option to give certain parameters. So for example, if I want to look at data from, let's say, I'll take from January 2025. Probably let's say April 25. Let me give all and search for the balance. So now if you see, so based on this parameter, so I did not specify any particular combination or any particular account. So I'll have all the combinations listed here. So these are the various combinations that we can see. So here, what I can do is that, so I will have the beginning balance or the opening balance, and then I'll have the period activity and then the closing balance. Okay, so most of the accounts did not have transaction in this month, or let's say April to this thing, because this is seeded ledger is what
Hmm.
I assume. So we don't have much transactions. So what I'll do is that, so probably let me extend this
Basically,
to,
when they will use this one, um, Arun, like
so
when they use this one, yeah.
yeah, so this when they will use is that, so let's say I have certain accounts, for example, my supplier liability account, so which I wanted to monitor this balance, I wanted to have the threshold limit. So beyond this limit, I don't want to have my liability account to reach, let's say, more than $1 million. So I don't have that scenario. So in that case, what I can do is that I can set this monitor option, and then I can look at that particular balance there. So which will give me option to set the threshold limit also. So that is one option. So this
Where we'll
option is
set the threshold limit here?
no, not here. So if you
Hmm.
see here, so if I go to view and go to account, or let me just open the existing one.
Basically,
So
this
just
they do when they do data migration or month-end closing, they'll be
no,
using
these
this.
are yeah. So these are part of month-end activities. So for data migration, we will not use this. So for data migration, ideally we will use only the trial balance report, not this one. So trial balance is the reference document for us.
Okay.
So this is for the month-end regular activities.
Okay.
Let me just give a name.
Sure.
So here I can say, let's say decrease less than, and I can give a threshold amount, let's say, sorry, not decrease, increase, I think. Okay, so I can give this as 1 million. So when this threshold is reached, so this will show balance saying in negative, saying this particular account has reached the threshold. So this we can set it up at this level.
Okay. So, so this particular how it's going now? You set the limit, right? How it's going to
Right.
reflect in the initial dashboard now?
The initial dashboard, it will not change. So until we reach this particular limit, so system will not show balances, or system is not going to highlight the balances at the dashboard. So it is going to highlight when it reaches more than $1 million,
So I
because
mean,
there will be
you have created a group, no? That group where it will reflect, like say ABB is there, right?
right. One
How it's
minute,
there?
I'll just show you. So it's the same dashboard. So let me just put that and I'll show you.
Okay.
Now I'll just remove this threshold thing because I'm not sure if they have $1 million as open, and just to show this where this will be displayed. I'll just show this. So now if you see, so this is the one that we created. So the moment you enter into the dashboard, so you will see this under accounting monitor. So by default, always you will see ABB account monitor, and you can look at the combinations and the account balances. So let's say you don't want to look at for let's say 2021. So instead you wanted to see for 2017, let's say. So you can change the date parameter, and probably you can see the different balance.
Okay. Yeah.
And also you will see the change in amount and change in percentage. But I think for this account, we don't, or probably this combination, I can say. So for this combination, we don't have balance there. So that's why you are seeing this as zero. So if you click this option, so this will take us to the details screen where we can drill down further. So if you see, so these are the parameters that we entered there. So let me just do a search. I think we don't have any balances to this.
Take till the transaction details, right?
Yeah. probably we might have to run TB and look at the valid combination and then run this report, I think.
Okay.
Okay, let me just try this TB once so that we can check this option. So when we are doing data migration to validate the balances, ideally we will use this report. So this will be the actual document to verify if the balances that customer or the client has given is correct, or we have loaded the correct balances. Okay.
That is for transactional data, right?
No, not transaction data. So this is for the trial balance or the GL balances. So transaction, we
Okay.
will call it as payable invoice or receivable invoice or payment or receipt. So these are the subledger items I can say. So
Mm.
subledger items is what we call as transaction data. So this is basically the GL balances or the TB or the trial balance data.
Okay. So master data, you're saying.
Not exactly master data. So master data is different slightly because when we say master data, which means that the master is not actual transaction. So instead, it's a kind of an supporting data. Let's say this supplier or the customer. So supplier creation or customer creation is not the transaction in the system because we are not generating expense or revenue. So we are just creating a record. So with this, we will create a invoice. If it is payable invoice, it is going to be expense. So when we create expense or revenue, so that is what we refer to basically the transaction data.
Okay. Actually, like say my, yeah, so the customer using a legacy ERP, which they
Okay.
have in the system for 10 years. They have thousands of invoices. Okay.
Okay.
And on particular day, they have a say liability account. They have some X amount. Now,
Okay.
when they move from legacy to Oracle Fusion,
Okay.
they will transfer the balance or they transfer the invoices as well, like say paid invoice or open invoice.
Right. So the process, what will happen is that so primarily we will validate firstly whether the balances are correct, meaning so there could be possibility that the GL balances might not be matching with the subledger or the payable. So how we will validate? So we have this liability account. So the liability account in the general ledger or the trial balance. So let's say this liability account has $1 million. So now I will have to look at my open invoices. So open invoices meaning I have created the invoice, but I have not paid it to the supplier. So now if I total this invoice, so this is coming around 9,098,000, let's say. So in this case, so there is a difference between subledger and the general ledger. So in this case, we will not load this. So these are the certain validations that we will do. So before loading the data into the system. Okay, so this is first set of information that we will do. So now once this validation is done, what we will do is that we will load the invoices and we will have payments because there are certain prepayments or the advances also, so which we will have to make the payment. So once this is done and there will be open transactions in the system, so then we will load the trial balance in the system. So trial balance is basically part of general ledger module where we can look at the balances. And then what we will do is that we will reverse the journal entry that we have created in general ledger. The reason being, if I create one invoice in payable module, so I will have to basically have this data. What if it is 100 rupees, it should be 100 rupees in GL also. So to have the same balance, what I will do is that I will reverse the journal entry that is generated by payable invoice, because payable will show me this is the supplier and this is the amount. But if I have to transfer this particular journal to general ledger, so this is going to duplicate the entry, or it is going to show me the double entry, because already I have loaded this balance in trial balance. So I'll have to reverse this with the dummy account and have the exact balances in sub ledger and the general ledger. So this is the usual or the traditional practice in terms of data migration.
Okay, I'll just confirm my understanding. Say we have
Okay.
invoice worth value of 1 million,
Okay.
and out of this, they have say $10,000 of open invoice.
Right.
Okay. Now they will transfer the trial balance details, that is account wise balances.
Right.
It will show $10,000.
Correct. In TB.
Now when they do transactional data migration, they do it for 1 million, and out of which $10,000, that is open invoice, will be reversed.
No, no,
Or
like that. So we will not load all the balances. So
mm,
ideally, it is only the open invoices that we will take, because if I have to correct this particular uh, transaction, so let's say, okay, I'll just share my Excel sheet. Probably you'll understand this.
the transaction level, they will bring only $10,000, the open invoice alone.
Yeah, correct. We'll share my screen.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday we seen, like, usually they migrate all chart of accounts setup related. Okay. After that, they will transfer the account balance, right?
Right. So I'll just give example. Okay. So let's say I have probably as of 31st March. So usually we will take a cutoff date as end of the year. So in this case, for India scenario, I'm taking 31st March as the cutoff date. So 1st April, I will make transaction in the new system, that is Oracle Fusion. So now if I take my trial balance for the liability account, I have, let's say, 1 lakh. 1 lakh rupees is, sorry, 1 lakh rupees is my supplier payable or the supplier liability account. So now, if I look at my payable invoice listing, so this tells me that I have totally 1,000 bills. So each, let's say, 1,000. So in this case, so this comes around 1 million. But actually, so here out of this 1 million, if I look at it, it's only the 10% of the invoices are open invoices, which means that I created invoices, but I did not make payment. So the reason why I will not import already paid invoices is that we are not going to make use of the paid invoices, because if I want to probably make payment to the supplier, I will need this 1 lakh rupees, because unless I have this invoice here, I will not be able to do it. This we are just looking at a smaller portion of it, so we are saying 1,000 invoices. But there could be more invoices also, so which we cannot create manually every time when supplier gives the invoice, because we have already created in the legacy system. So which we will have to migrate. So in this case, I will not basically migrate the entire 1 million. So instead, I will migrate only the 1 lakh rupees. So in this case, out of 1,000 invoices, so I am migrating only the 100 invoices, which is open invoices, which means unpaid. Okay. So now if I look at the balances between the trial balance and payable invoices, so this will match exactly. So meaning, and also another point why we are looking at the balance in this way is that, so we will have to understand the accounting entry. So now the regular accounting entry would be expense debit and then liability credit. Okay. So now in this case, if I make payment, my liability will be debit and my cash or the bank account will be credit. Okay. So now in this case, if you see, this includes payment or the paid invoices also. So which comes around probably 900 million. Okay, so which is not the valid case because that is not going to match it with my trial balance liability. Because here in this case, I have 100 rupees, and here if I debit 100, so this becomes 0. So now for this reason, I will not include paid invoices. So instead, I will only pick the open invoices. So here the open invoice is basically the 1 lakh rupees which we are talking about. So for that reason, what I will do is that I'll take only the open invoices. So in this case, it is 1 lakh rupees. Okay. So this is the amount which we are going to validate, and this is the amount which we are going to migrate into new system.
Okay. Yeah. So we are only referring to only will consider the open invoice. Usually, like say what the company will do, like for the paid invoice for the closed invoices, they will keep
Okay.
that legacy, or how will they use it for any reference, or they are not worried about that closed invoice.
No, usually customer will not be worried about paid invoices because unless they have the dispute or those things, so probably there could be certain invoices. Let's assume that 5 to 10 invoices mostly. So even that case, I have not seen in any scenario. But then we can have that. Or probably if we want to have a cutoff of 3 months, so which we can have it. So for 3 months, probably we might be having another 20 or 30 invoices, or let's add another 100 invoices also that we can add. But even that is not needed or necessary, I would say, because customer or the supplier is not going to come back and say that this amount which you paid is not reflecting. So we are not going to see any such dispute. So ideally, we will not recommend to migrate or import paid invoices because that is not going to benefit business.
What about the customer invoices?
Yeah,
Same.
customer invoices also the same approach that we will do, but customer invoices probably there could be a valid reason, but ideally we will not recommend settled invoices, but we have option to import, or probably customer might have a valid point there because if there is a dispute, because there could be a one-time customer or there could be regular customer. So if it is one-time customer, we are not sure whether we are going to service the customer or not because certain cases will have warranty and all those additional details also. So in that case, probably we can say that for 3 months we can have the paid invoices also to be migrated, but that is for the customer, we can say.
Okay, Arun, got it.
Yeah, but ideally the recommended are the best practice in AR also to have only the open invoices.
Okay. So we have to get for this once the mm, what do you call the account balances data has been transferred mode, we have
Right.
to do the validation against the source file.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And what about the, you said some invoices will get reversed, right? What is that example?
Correct. Yeah. So here, as I was saying, so let's leave these two. Okay. So now if you see here, I have liability on the credit side as 1 lakh. So this is my actual liability. So the reason why I am basically creating the invoice or importing the invoice is that I wanted to have a invoice that is created in the system so that I can make the payment to the supply. So now this is one part of understanding, and the other part, if you look at it, so I will not be able to close my periods unless until I make the accounting entry. So now if I account this transaction, what will happen is that my expense will go to the extent of 1 lakh, and also my liability will go to the extent of 1 lakh. So now already I have 1 lakh in my trial balance. So now another 1 lakh is coming from payable. So which will have the closing balance of 2 lakh. But then actually I don't have 2 lakh as a balance in my legacy system. It is only 1 lakh. So for this reason, what we will do is that we will basically reverse this particular entry which we are generating from the payable invoice.
Okay.
So that is this part. Okay. Any other question?
And we can move on. No questions. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me reshare my screen. Yeah. I think there is no balance after March 2022. So probably I'll take this one and look at it. Okay. So the purpose of having this detailed option is that if I want to drill down to a particular account at the transaction level, so I can make use of this particular option. Okay. Because if I take this particular one account, if you see, so I have period activity. So period activity is what basically I can drill down at the transaction level. So in this case, it is March 2022. Okay. So if I click this particular account, so this will show me the list of journal entries that is created. So here I have probably two journal entries that is created. So I'll take this one journal entry that is 71079. Okay. So if I take this journal entry, so again I have multiple lines inside this. Okay. So out of which I don't want to analyze the journal entry. So instead I want to look at a particular line. Let's say I want to look at this 45,000 line and view the transaction of this particular line. So what I can do is that, so I can click that particular line, so which will tell me that this is the transaction for that particular line. So which means that this comes from the custom application called investment banking. So this is kind of an ACHR, the accounting hub event that system has generated. Okay, so from there we are having this particular journal entry created. So if it is payable, we will have the application name as payable similarly. And if I open the transaction, I'll see the invoice. If it is payment, I'll look at the payment. So similarly, since this is coming from accounting hub, I'm looking at the event that system has generated. So this is that event. If you see, this
Okay.
is the transaction number.
This transaction number will reflect in the accounting app.
Yeah, correct. Accounting hub.
Okay. Can we see this one in accounting app now?
Accounting hub, I'm not sure. Uh, Maybe we can try, but I don't think I have access to accounting. Let me try, but I think
Basically, like
this.
when they do data migration during implementation, it will come through
Okay.
accounting app or it will come through accounting app, no?
Data migration, will it come to accounting institution?
Yeah, through it will come to
Yeah.
accounting app and come to the um, say GL model, right?
Yeah, yeah, it will come, but we will reverse that entry ideally. We will not have that. Ideally, we will reverse that entry,
Okay,
but the accounting will be generated. That is correct.
okay. Actually, in one of the discussion, they're saying like how we'll validate when the in accounting hub you are finding some transaction were not transferred to GL.
Okay.
What is the error and how we troubleshoot that one?
Okay. So that you will have the log for the create accounting. So if you run create accounting and post to GL, so you'll have that log. So that log will give you the exact reason why that failed actually.
Okay.
So probably if you have a specific reason, probably we can look at it why that has failed.
Yeah. I mean, say if from the source file there is a one value, and in the GL we are finding after data migration in GL the particular account it says $9,000. Then we have to find out where that $1,000 is got stuck,
Okay.
or why
So
it's not been
we
transferred to the.
okay. So probably mapping issue is what I understand, is what I think. But
Okay.
probably we'll have to look at it. So
Yeah.
we will look at it.
So they were saying like, as a tester, how they will find out this gap and how they will troubleshoot it.
Okay. So that's what gap in the sense there could be multiple reasons. So why this account will not reach general ledger. So basically we'll have to look at the different accounting configurations or the accounting setups. So it could be due to the registration of the event, or it could be due to the mapping set, or it could be the issue with journal entry rule set, or it could be issue with mapping the accounts with the general accounting module, or it could be due to the simple period close and all those things also. So that we will have to deep dive into that. So that is when we will get the
Okay.
complete details, because at high level, if it is not transferring, it is a common issue, but it could have multiple costs to that. Probably we'll have to look at that.
Okay. Basically, like when this accounting hub will, because they have said for all the finance testers, they should have knowledge on financial accounting hub. Just trying to understand when this financial accounting hub, where what activity is getting started, and when we have to perform testing in financial accounting hub.
Yeah. So, accounting hub, when we will need is that when I have a custom application. So, let's say if I'm implementing this for a banking solution, so I'm implementing this for a bank, let's assume. So, I will not have solution directly here because banking solution is separate product or Flexi Cube is what I remember. But apart from that, we have certain processes in EBS which we wanted to migrate it to cloud. So in this case, what we will do is that so most of the transaction like the payables and the receivables will remain in cloud. And addition to that, we will have certain processes in terms of investment of the bank and bonus withdrawal and certain donations and the other things which we will not be able to capture in the regular transactions, or probably that process is not simple. So in that case, what we will do is that so probably we will use this accounting hub where we will customize the string. So this is similar to the SLA. So you have this journal entry rule set and all those options. So which will basically give similar to the SLA, I can say, but the difference is that SLA is predefined configurations. We will have everything there. So it is only the smaller portion that we will tweak and generate the accounts which we needed. But in case of accounting hub, it is not the simple piece or the small tweak that we'll be doing. So we will start with the event registration, and then we will generate each event. So when we say event, it is a payable invoice. So this payable invoice is one event. So under this payable invoice, we will have different sub events or the sub classes, I can say. So the subclasses will tell me that what should happen when I book this invoice, what should happen when I reverse or cancel this invoice. So what should happen when I adjust this invoice? So what should happen when I apply this prepayment? So there are a lot of things. So which we will have to do it in the accounting hub. So accounting hub is basically the detailed version of SLA, but in terms of conceptual, it is both are same. So to answer the question, so when do I use this accounting hub? So when I cannot achieve the requirement of having or meeting the requirement in the standard modules of Oracle, so I will have to create a separate module for this and account those transactions in the system. So that is when I will go for the accounting hub.
Okay. Now, for now, say for example, uh, we can tell that for the data migration, okay, unless
Okay.
there is a requirement, we can do 100%. We can do the transfer without using the accounting app.
Yeah, yeah. Accounting hub is not needed. We can do
Where
migration even without.
Yeah. So what we'll do, we'll say we are just this training is about like one case study for testing in Oracle Finance models, right? So I would say
Yeah.
like we are not use the accounting hub, but later what we'll see couple of transactional accounting hub. Like I just want to see how the page or as you given some example. No, let's go to the page and see later, not now. Yeah, I just want to see like how this. We are redefining the account number, right? We are reclassifying, so those things we can see at transaction level is fine. I don't want to be end to end testing, but at least we can go to the accounting hub and see, right,
Okay.
at the end of GL section.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Check maybe because I'm not sure if we have the accounting hub things configured or access to that. Probably I will have to also check that if we have, because I have given access to that, but I'm not sure if we can access that. So that we need to check. Probably, as we said, we will probably look at this after we complete the general legend module. We
Okay,
will
okay,
come back
sure.
to this one.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. Any other question or we'll move forward?
Yeah, 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 we can move forward.
Okay.
Actually, shall we cover on the master data, how it is moved, and how we have to test that one?
Yeah, sure. So master data, first thing is that the chart of account values. Okay, so to configure the chart of accounts, I'm not going in that detail because that will be kind of a configuration session. So what I will do is that I'll open this value set. Okay. So for instance, let's say so there are additional masters also. So I'm just starting with the chart of accounts because this will be our base to start. Okay. So for example, if I want to add the account values. So for instance, I'm taking Reliance account. Okay. So now if I open this particular thing, I will have lot of accounts inside this. So if you see, so this is big list. So which I cannot create it manually. So ideally in terms of implementation, so we have option to import this values. So I'll take one and probably I'll import one value here. Okay. So to do that, probably I'll reshare my screen. I'll share my this thing.
Okay.
I'll share my screen. So this is basically the Oracle repository. So this repository will allow us to load the values. So this is both the values and the hierarchy. Okay. So this is the template. So if you click this particular file, so this will download a file. So I'll just quickly explain. You're able to see my Excel file also, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. So
Yeah,
customer use this template fill to fill the chart of accounts value, right?
right. So now here if you see, so this is the sheet which gives access or which gives option to load the value. So in this case, so this is the value set code that we are using, and this is the value meaning the code is what we are referring. So value set code is configuration or the setup
Sorry,
option.
I can see only the Oracle file page, but not that XLS
Okay, one
page.
minute. I'm not sure why I did the entire share.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the downloaded file. Okay. So the first screen you will have option to basically look at the instructions, and the second sheet if you see. So this is nothing but the values which I want to upload or import it into Oracle Fusion. And second sheet, if you see, so this are the last sheet, I can see. So this last sheet is nothing but the hierarchy. So hierarchy is not mandatory for us. So I'll explain how to do it, but in this system, we are not sure how this hierarchy is defined, or probably we'll come back after we load this. So we'll come back to this option and then we'll load the hierarchy as well. Just to understand how this is done. Okay. And now what we will do is that, so I'll just remove these values. Okay. Right.
Basically, in EBS, they use Excel, right, to do this activity, or they had a template for EBS as well
EBS,
to
we
upload.
don't have this option. So this is in Fusion only. So EBS, we
Okay.
have something called data loader. So that is
Ah,
similar to the Excel sheet. So where we will fill, but not exactly this. This is pre-populated fields. But in EBS, we'll have to set the fields and we will load the values here. And then we have option to load it here. If I start and
mm,
click on the Java file. So it is
yeah.
going to add the values and I can say commit and save that. But here the process is slightly different, meaning that I have to fill the data in the sheet and I have to run a program called import process, and then I can verify whether the data is imported. And also for the hierarchy, we don't have option there in EBS. So EBS, I'll have to create the hierarchy manually. But Fusion, I have option to import the hierarchy as well. So that is the difference.
Okay, Arun. Yeah.
Okay. So what I will do is that, so I'll take this chart of account code. So the one that we looked at was account lines. So I'll take this one. So let me give the value as, let's say, 10001. I'll just give the value as 10001. Not sure if this exists or not, but let's give this. Okay. And then let me create this account as asset account. So let me call this as cash. Okay. And here if you see summary flag. So when we see the summary flag as yes, which means this is parent account, but this is
Okay.
not my parent account. So I wanted to, okay, or else what I'll do, yeah, maybe we'll create that manually. So for now, I'll just set this flag as no, which means this is child account, not the parent account. Then I'll have to say this as enable because unless I enable, I'll not be able to use that. And here, if you see, so this is kind of an nature of the account. A meaning asset, E meaning expense, R meaning revenue, O meaning ownership equity, and L meaning liability. So these types or the account types will be given by business or the account manager or the accountant. Okay. So in this case, I'm picking A, which means the asset account. Okay. And then we have option to allow posting and allow budgeting. So which means I'm using budget option also for this account. So that is the meaning. Okay.
Okay.
And then we have third party control account. So we will not need third party control account, which means that I wanted to have supplier or the customer reference. That is this option. And also reconciliation, I don't need this option. So, and others are the optional ones. So this I'm naming it as, let's say, empty cash. Okay. So I'll just remove these and let me load this. I think I have removed this as well. Yeah. Okay, I think I did not unblock this file. So let me just close and unblock this file and reopen this.
Okay. So,
Open it again. Okay, so I have removed this and I have added this. Okay, so these are the fields are the information that we filled. So this is the account description that is empty. Okay. So now if you see, so optionally, if I want to validate if there is any issue, so I can click on the validate. So which will give me if there is any error. So when will I get error? So if I did not enable this mandatory fields like this options, let's say I did not enable this flag.
mm,
I just left
yeah.
it blank. So this will give. So this is at the Excel level, but application level, this is not going to validate. So that is the understanding. Okay.
Okay.
So now if I go to this page, I have a button called generate CSV file. So this button will basically generate this into CSV file and which we can use to import into Oracle Fusion. So let
Okay.
me click this generate CSV file. Let me save this in a local folder. Okay, so we have created it. So now let me go back to the application.
Where it got generated?
So this file is saved. So it's nothing but saving, changing the format from Excel to CSV.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so which we can use. So probably I'll share the application and I'll show you uh, the file and things. So it's just changing the file extension.
Okay. So where we'll give the URL of that application?
No, URL of the application is not needed. So those are fixed by Oracle. So Oracle will have those linkages and the other factors using something called UCM. So UCM is basically Universal Content Manager of Oracle. So which will take care of processing the data or the application data from the external system. So in this case, we are loading the chart of account values. So this is also treated as UCM content or the UCM data.
Yeah, now we downloaded that template from oracle.com, right? Now
Yeah.
this should get loaded to a particular client specific application, right? So how it is getting linked to how the data is loaded to
No, that's
client
what I'm.
specific. Mm,
No, that is what I'm saying. So now we have saved the file. So now
mm,
client system meaning, so this is the client system, Oracle Fusion. So let's assume that. So now to import this, I can go to
okay,
this option called schedule process. So here I have a program which will import the file which I have it in the local
okay,
and it will basically save the content in the UCM or the Universal Content Manager. So from there, we are pulling the data into Oracle. So this is
now,
the process.
okay, okay,
But we don't need to map this address and those details because those are the port level details which Oracle has taken care already. So they will
okay.
do those mappings. So all we
Okay.
need to do is that fill the data and import using these two schedule processes.
Can you pull that file, please? Now we are coming here and schedule process. And what is the schedule process name?
Yeah, yeah, on that. Just give me a minute.
Okay, sure.
Uh, Okay. Okay. So this is the first program. Let me come from here. So if I go to schedule new process, I can just type load space interface. So
Okay.
this program, what it will do is that this will pick the data that we are going to provide. So if I give OK, so one is that the import process, because the way that Oracle imports the data is that it will pick the data and place it in UCM, and another program will pick from UCM and places it in Oracle tables. Okay, so this program which we are giving is for that purpose to create the record in Oracle. So now this is import segment values. So that is the uh, process name. So this is the one import segment values. So I'll just say okay, and here I'll have to select the file. So if I select from the desktop files that I have, so this is the file that I saved. Okay, so I can just click OK. So there are two level validations. So one is that this level load interface file for input. So this will validate the data that is entered in the Excel sheet. So whether those are in format, because there are certain conditions and rules that Oracle has applied. So for example, if we have entered the data, which means alt entered, and we have multiple lines inside a cell. So this will validate and this will throw an error saying invalid data. So those details will be validated here, and application level validation will be done here at the import segment point.
Okay. So now we are finding, see, apart initially we have done validation when we enter the data. That is basic mandatory fields values there are not in
Yes,
specified
yes,
format. Now
yes.
here, if say multiple rows with same values, if it is throwing error, then how we will correct it? Like, if we know that it's a multiple value, we can
Right.
ignore that or
No, no, this file will not be loaded. So I'll have to correct the file and generate the CSV file again. And then again, I'll have to come to the screen and load again. See,
oh,
from
it will
step
not
one,
load for
I'll,
everything. All the rows will not be uploaded.
yes, yes.
Okay, I mean, if say 10 rows are there, 3 rows has same values, it will not load the other 7 as well.
It will load other seven. So whatever is
Okay,
not valid, so those
okay,
records will be failed, and those three records I'll have to create the file and then do the process from step one.
okay, okay. Got it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just please submit. I think something we missed. Okay, I did not select the CSP file. My bad. I think I selected the Excel file. That is the issue.
Okay,
Okay, now I think this is created.
okay.
Let me
Input segment
go to
values.
this and check if the value that we gave is loaded. Okay, copy the value selected as account. Yeah, so this is the one that we created. If you remember earlier, we had 10000 and then 11000. So this is how we had. So we added a value called 10001 empty cache. So this is what is loaded.
Okay,
So this is one option of loading the values. Okay. So probably if I want to validate after loading, so I can take an Excel copy of it and I can do VLOOKUP and check if it is matching with the configuration workbook. So configuration workbook is the actual setup document, so with which basically we can validate. Okay.
okay, fine.
Okay. So this is one step. And the next step of the master data is basically the accounting hierarchy. So do you want to look at the configurations or we'll just pick the existing one and we'll load the values for that?
Yeah, we can go with existing data. I just want to know, like, how we can validate that
Okay.
assertions, how it is
Okay.
getting imported, and how we have, where we have to go and validate it.
Okay. So, let me try to pick one from the existing one. So don't no lines.
Account architect, like something, mm, how we can define it,
Account architect. Architect meaning the hierarchy that you are
hierarchy.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, hierarchies. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one. So this is what we are saying hierarchy. So the way that we can, okay, let me quickly create one. So basically what we will do is that we will just give the hierarchy name. So in this case, let me just give the value set code as the hierarchy code. And this tree structure is basically the accounting hierarchy. Okay. So the way that we will do is that we will have certain parent nodes and we will have certain child nodes. So node is nothing but the structure. Structure is what we are referring to nodes. Okay. So in this case, if you see here, so we have details, details meaning the child value. And also here, if you see the parent values, both child and parent, we are doing it for accounts. So I'll just say next. Okay, this is not in caps, I think. Okay, the value already exists. Mhm. Let me do that. Let me save this and go to next. Okay, so let me submit and create a version. Okay, so now here if you see, so this is the node. So if I want to create it manually, so which I can do it, or I can create it using the Excel sheet that we had. Okay, so for now, I will just leave this option as it is. Okay, and we will try to load it using Excel sheet because ideally we will not do it manually unless we have certain corrections like one or two values that we will do it manually. But mostly it is the Excel functions that we will do. So I'll just say submit.
Okay.
So this hierarchy, this is not only for chart of accounts. So this is used for the other segments also, like the department cost center, or if we have project. So even that can be accounting or the hierarchy based rules. Okay. So let me give the tree code. So this is the one which we created. So now I'll just try to activate this. So this tree structure is nothing but the parent and child combination. So let's say, for example, I have probably brand. Brand is one of my segment. Okay, so under brand, probably I have multiple components inside that. So let's take one example, Medimits. So Medimits is one of the brand which I have. So under classic, so classic is one brand which I can say, and premium is another segment or sandal. Let's say sandal and classic. I'll take this as an example. So in this case, under classic, probably I might be having another set of list of values also, which means that I will have another child value saying that classic 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now my classic would be one parent value, and under that I might be having some set of child values as well. Okay. So similarly, uh, for the other segments like the department, so I can have finance department as an head, and under that, I can have subdivisions like accounting and business analysis, all those classifications I can have. So this accounting hierarchy, the reason why we are having it is for the better reporting purposes. Because if I want to look at the data, or let's say I'm trying to understand the profitability, or I'm trying to understand, or I'm trying to probably generate the balance sheet. So these components will help me in terms of pulling the data. So that is the primary reason why we have this accounting hierarchy or the account hierarchy. So that's the primary purpose of having this hierarchy as an option. Okay. So this is activated now. So let me just do this flattening process and we will publish this. Okay, so this is done. So let me publish this hierarchy. Okay, fine. So this is published. So now what we can do is that, so we can go back to the one that we were having, the Excel sheet, and we will try to load now for the hierarchy. So we have loaded it for account value, but we have not loaded it for this one. So let me reshare my screen. Let me
Okay.
open the Excel file first. Okay, so this we have loaded it already. So I'm just removing. So let me just fill this sheet and then probably we will remove these values. So let me just give this in this one 10001, and the parent value would be okay, let me take this parent value also. So let me give this as my parent value. Okay. So this is my parent value. So here we will be seeing more parent values, which means that I can have parent value still 8, but ideally we will not have parent value at this level. And also as a best practice, we will suggest to have only till to the max of parent value 3, because beyond this we will not be able to manage these accounting hierarchies. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So I will just give the value set code. So value set code is this. And let me copy the tree code and tree name. So this is the tree code and the tree name is similar. Tree version started. Tree version started. Yes. Hmm, and what? Okay. So this is our value. So now I'll give it for the child one also. It's the same thing. So I just copy first.
Okay.
Okay. So this is done. So let me generate the CSV file similar to what we did previously.
Okay.
Okay. So this is done. So the other process is similar. Let me share my screen and we'll complete that also.
Okay.
I think there is some error. Okay, I did not delete the first one. We had two sheets. So the
Mm,
previous one we already loaded. So that's why it's
yeah.
saying it's duplicate. Let me try to delete this one and try to load it again.
Okay. Where it says duplicate, I can't see that one.
Now
Uh,
here if the log file if you see, so
okay.
you
I'm
can
not able
see
to see the
this.
log file. Yeah.
Uh, okay. Mm. Now see this
Yeah.
file. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So here if you see, so this says delete and load failure equal to yes, which means that we did not even fill this option.
Mm,
So this we had from the previous load where we mentioned the flags, enable flag as yes, posting and then budgeting. So those are the flags. So now if we go back to, I think I closed it. Let me just open it again. So if we go here, if you see, so these items should have been deleted because we have uploaded already. Because if we are not deleting it, system will consider this as a new record and it will say that this record already exists.
okay.
And also we will have another process. So this is one of the process and another process if you see will also give the details around the cause of the issue. If you see, so this will say the date. Okay, date for it. This is another issue. What is date? 1 minute. Let me check the format once. Yes, it says invalid date.
Okay.
Okay, so this is year, month, and this one. Okay, so 221/1. Okay, this is 10. So let me delete this line. So, okay, so this is 10. This is also done. So this is done. seconds. Files. Mm, this. Okay, this was the one. Okay, so this is done. Now we have this is the file. Okay, I think now it is done. Let's go back and check if it is created.
Okay, sure.
I think these are the two values which we loaded. So you see here. So we did not give the value. So we just gave this would be my parent and this would be my child. Okay. So this is what we have it here. This is parent and child. So similarly, we can create multiple values under that, but steps are same process.
Okay, okay, fine.
So similarly, again, this we will validate with configuration workbook if it is loaded correctly. So this is, for instance, let's say we have four parents. So this we have taken it for asset. So similarly, we might have two series for probably liabilities, and then we'll have asset. So we'll validate with the configuration workbook which we have with the application whatever is loaded. So that is this process. So this would be the first master which we will load and validate.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then the second one would be basically the customer. So for customer, we have two options basically, but primarily it is used here. I'll just show how we will use. Sure, if I have receivables. I think I did not give receivables roles. So let me quickly give the receivable roles. and then we'll come back to this. So we should go to security council. So for receivables, it is accounts receivable manager. Sorry, accounts receivable. Okay, so this is the one. We'll just add the same business unit. Okay, so this is the business unit. Let me try to log out and log out. To follow notice. Okay, so if we go to building section, so we have option to basically either create it manually or upload as a bulk. So creation of customer manually. So probably after this, I'll show.
Yeah.
Or probably first I'll show the manual option and then we'll come back to the bulk upload. So if I do create customer, so this will give me option to basically create the customer. So before that, so how can we understand this customer is that probably we might be knowing it from EBS system that we will have customer at the top layer. So under customer, we have accounts and probably we might be having multiple customer accounts. And similarly, by each customer account, I might be having different sites also, which could be built to site and which could be shipped to site or sold to site. It could be various purposes. Okay, it's the same option that we have here as well. So only
Okay.
difference, as I said, it is the account set. So if you see here, so as I said, we will have the enterprise, but if you see here, we will not have option called common. So common, you will find it in the other configurations like the payment terms and remit to address, all those places. But here we will not find it. Either we should use the enterprise or we should go by specific reference set. Okay, so in this case, we have specific reference set called Supremo Business Unit. So probably we can use this for the customer creation.
Arun, like
Okay.
account address set, one is
Right.
enterprise means under this customer will be used across enterprise.
Yes, correct.
And what are
There is
other
no
options
restriction. So other
specific to
options are,
BU?
yeah, specific to the BU. So in this case, if you see, I have taken Supremo BU set. So this
Okay.
Supremo BU set is associated only with Supremo business unit. So now if I take the second business unit or newly created business unit, so this customer will not be listed out there. So this will be
Okay.
listed only to Supremo business unit. But whereas enterprise, it will be visible to all the business units.
Okay. So do we have any other terminology or for this, like, when we discuss in the meetings, we can say account
We
address set or any other.
No, we can
Same.
say account address set or we can say reference data set.
Okay, first status. Okay.
Ideally, when we talk about customer, it is account address set is the proper term, but in terms of configuration, we'll say that is reference data set.
And this is new in Oracle Fusion, right?
Yeah,
Not in.
correct.
Okay.
Not in EBS. It's new in Fusion.
Actually,
Okay.
if in EBS, generally we create a customer which will be how it is getting. If they want to use the same customer for across different BUs,
Okay.
what setup they do there?
So there we will add multiple business units. Let's say I have 50 different business units. So using technical resources, we will associate this with all 50 operating units. So that is how
Okay.
we will do there. But here it's slightly different.
Okay. And there
Okay.
are chance that account address set can be used for a set of three BUs or set of five BUs like that as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, that we can do.
Okay. One is enterprise level, next is BU level. So
Yeah,
for
yeah,
BU
yeah,
level, customer can have their own customized
yeah.
BU set.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So only difference between EPS and Fusion is that, so here simply I can say this is enterprise and this will be visible to all the business units, but there in EBS I'll have to specify all the operating units
Mm-hmm.
separately. If I have 50, I'll have to specify all 50. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
difference. But functionality wise it is same, but in terms of configuration, we will have additional efforts in EBS compared to Fusion.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just create one sample customer and then we'll try to load the customers. Okay, so there are few additional fields that we will give here. So first and foremost is customer name and then the account number. So this is controlled by profile options, which will tell us whether this account number should be uh, manual or it will be automatic. Ideally, it will be automatic because in case of manual, we will not know which is the previous number and which should be the next number. Okay, so that is this option and then the account description which we can say. So let's say I have five different locations. I have Ananagar, I have Cholingalore, I have Nandanam. So I can create three different accounts. So probably that naming convention I can keep. Okay. And then optionally I can give the account type and the account classes also. And this date basically determines from when this customer can be used for the transaction. So for say for side, I create this as let's say I think April, yeah, 20th April 2021. Okay. And then the site name and the site purpose. So let's say I call this as billing address. Okay. And then let me just leave it as it is because the business unit that we are working with is US. So if I change it to different country, probably it could be an import transaction. So I'll just leave it as it is and I'll give the names here. Okay, then I can add the purpose here. So again, I'll change the year to 2021. And these are the different purposes that we have. So ideally, we will use build to purpose and the ship to purpose. So let me give here the build to purpose and change the year, activation date, the year, and let me give this as ship to. Okay, so I can also create two different addresses and I can give one as build one ship to. So even that case, I'll have to specify if this is ship to address, then what should be my build to address.
Okay.
So in my case, I'm giving build to and ship to as the same address, so I'll just leave it as it is. So I'll just say save and post. Date range. Okay, maybe there is a record on. Let me leave as this date. Okay, so now this customer is created. So now if I open this option, I will have these details. Okay, so these are the additional information that I have. So similarly here, if you see, I can add the business unit. So in case I am billing it from customer account, because if I want to generate the accounting entry in receivables module, so I have different options. So either I can choose at transaction type, or I can choose at the customer site or the sales person site level also, which I can do it. But in this case, I'll go for transaction type. So I'm just leaving this option as blank. And also here, if you see, we have certain other options like the payment details, which we can add. Okay. So I can say the mandatory receipt method and then the credit card if I want to enable, so which I can add to this list. So these are the options for the defaultation, which will
Receipt
pick it
method
from.
is bank detail of the customers, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And credit card is okay. How we are going to make payment? The back
Yeah.
amount.
No, no. This is again the customer's credit card. So let's say I am
Okay.
subscribing for Netflix subscription. Okay.
Okay.
So usually the subscription business works in a way that it's the recurring billing. So what will happen is that I will save my card, say either it would be the debit card or the credit card or any kind of UPI payment method. Okay. So which will be linked with the bank account. So in this case, let's assume that I have linked my credit card to my subscription. So what will happen is that, so Netflix will charge from this card, which means that I, as a customer, I will associate my card here. So this will be my default payment method for my next bill. So Netflix as a company, it is going to pick from here. So it's entity or it's the customer's bank account. It's not entities details.
Okay. And what about the receipt method?
But the mode of payment. So if I'm selecting as credit card, the method would be credit card.
Okay.
If I'm selecting ACH for US and the other things, so then I'll say ACH and I'll give the bank account details here.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that is this option. And then if I want to create a profile where I can give the payment terms and the other options, so which I can create it. Though this is not mandatory. So if I need, I can create it. So similarly, I have the tax profiles also. So if I want to have the default taxes, so probably I can select it here itself. The taxes are not configured, but if we have, so probably we can select from the list of values. So whenever I pick this customer, by default, it will be calculated or the tax will be calculated.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so this is manual option. So I'll show the bulk upload also.
Bulk upload
So
usually during the migration it will happen, right?
correct, migration. During migration, we will use the bulk upload. So this is the option, upload customers from spreadsheet. So I'll just click this option, and here if you see, I'll have two options. So download the spreadsheet and upload. So firstly, I'll have to download and then add the details and then upload here in the same page, which will create the customer.
Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
they will say for functional team they'll give this file CSV file with us. It will have 1,000 or plus
Yes,
customers,
yes,
and we have to go to the application and validate.
yes, correct, correct.
And we don't have any database validate, right? We have to say I have 1,000 customers uploaded. So how do I validate in the front end? If we have database, we used to query and see number of customers. How we can find out?
Yeah, so
Yes,
ideally, so we will create this as a separate report because there are certain data which we will not be able to validate at front end because similar to the invoices and the chart of account values, we don't have option to extract in Excel format. So ideally, it will be in the form because I'll just show you that as well. So it will be in form which we cannot export it into Excel. I'll just take one sample. Oh, sorry, it's customer name. Yeah. So this is the one. Okay. So now if you see, I'll just try to export and I'll show you what I get and why I cannot basically validate using this option. So if you see, I have only the customer name and the address, these details, but then I wanted to validate also the customer account and the customer site and
yeah.
associated business unit and the purpose. So there are a lot of other things that I must validate. So I cannot use this option because here, if you see, so the only option, the export to Excel option that I have is this one. So what we will do as an practice is that we will create separate report using this. So whenever this customer is loaded, so we can use that particular query and we can download it in the Excel format and probably we can validate or verify using VLOOKUP or the other formulas. So that is how basically we will do the validation in the system.
Okay.
But
And
this,
we have 2 minutes left. Is that fine, Arun?
yeah, we can extend if you are available.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Uh,
if you say a query, you tell me like how to write that query. It's kind of financial report, right?
yeah, query, it is kind of an technical work. I'm not good in technical. Probably I can suggest you how we can write the queries. And also there is an note. I don't remember the note ID. Probably I'll take it from online. I can share it in the
Yeah,
group.
because now we don't have in cloud, we don't have database access, right? We
Yeah,
can't
yeah, right,
SQL query is not possible.
right,
So just find out any other reports under FSC. There are some reports
right,
we can do configure, right? If you can
right,
guide that way, it will be helpful.
right. So I can show you the tools or the place where we can download or we can access this. Okay, so if you go to tools, so you will have report and analytics. I think, mm,
Sure.
mm, selecting this option. All it records is one upload, okay, announcements. Alerts, not on the page. Okay, I think this is disabled. Okay.